What is the nature of time? Hi, I'm Dr. Carl Sagan. That's my Carl Sagan impersonation. Pretty bad, but I don't know, I tried. Today's topic is time discounting and time preference. And I'm not talking about space-time, like a certain Mr. Carl Sagan would. I'm talking about human time, or how humans perceive time. Now, I'm not going to get into too far into the exact specifics of time. We're going to be talking a lot more about specific studies that people have done. I just wanted to give you a brief overview about how behavioral economics looks at time and time preference and time discounting and what it means for you. I think the easiest way to think about it is to just first explain what time discounting is. And it's a pretty simple economic concept. It's basically saying that, let's just say I can pay $6 to get, I'm going to order something online, and for $6 I can get it here today, or $5 I can get it to me tomorrow. So there's a discount in the price that I'm willing to give if I wait more time. And that is called the discount of time. So I'm going to start with a little mind journey. So think about your paperclip on the beach. And now let's go, you're walking down, it's a crisp fall day, the leaves crinkle underneath your feet. And there you wafting is the warm smells of nutmeg. It is your favorite coffee and tea shop, and it is pumpkin spice latte season, your favorite time of year. Now you walk in and you are ready to buy that pumpkin spice latte right then and there. And you wait in line and you give your order to the barista. At checkout, they ask you if you'd like the order right now, or if you want to come back tomorrow. And they say, look, if you can get it right now, you pay full price. But if you come and pick it up tomorrow, we'll give you $1 off. Now, of course, most people are going to be like, no, thank you. Just give me I just want the latte right now, please. But what if it's $2? What if it's $3? What if they give you $5 to come pick it up tomorrow? There's a certain point, and it's different for everyone, and that's why economics is economics and not behavioral psychology. It's different for everyone, and they have a point at which it's worth it for them to wait. Now, that difference is called, and I just want to make sure that I'm doing this correctly, that's called the discount utility. So I am getting some amount of utility in order to discount the value that I am getting at the same time, right? It's more valuable if I get the latte that instant, and if you're going to make me wait till tomorrow, I'm getting less utility. So that has a certain cost. Now, if you give me money to offset that cost, well, maybe we can make things work. So this is the reason this is a fun behavioral economics topic is because let's say, for example, that instead of giving you, that they say, look, we'll give you $1 off if you pick it up tomorrow. And you say, let's just assume, for whatever reason, you say, okay, sure, that's fine, I accept. Well, the AI computer program would then set your discount utility at $1 per day. And so they would say, okay, so if you're going to pick it up in 2 days, then it should be $2, and in 7 days, it should be $7, and in a month, it should be $31, right? It's this linear discount utility, and that is not how humans work. It's just not, and we'll get into the research later, but suffice it to say that when humans do discount, they perceive time very, very, very strangely. It's just how it is. Now, the choice between things and between time is called Intertemporal Choices. And it's the paper I read was Time Discounting and Time Preference, a critical review by Frederick Lowenstein, who is who's a famous behavioral economist who's a favorite of mine, and O'Donoghue. And they define intertemporal choices as decisions involving trade-offs among costs and benefits that occur at different times. I think that's a really great definition. So again, choice means choice, intertemporal means between times. So intertemporal choices obviously is a really good definition for that. So there's a whole lot of psychology to suggest that that a linear model of time is wrong. The way humans wait for things is just strange, and we'll go through that through some of the other specific studies later, but I just want to introduce this idea of how humans value time. The difference, if you make someone wait if you literally make them wait 10 seconds, it's almost as bad as making them wait like a day. The difference between not waiting at all and waiting like 1 minute is really, really large, but then it gets smaller, and the difference between a day and a week is also smaller. So there's this there's this view that a linear model of time that we humans even measure time linearly is incorrect. As time passes, things get softened and they kind of mush together. And in fact, it's possible that the traditional notion of a discount utility, because in the past, economists just had to simplify stuff, because there's a lot of stuff that involves the discounted time utilities. And I know things are we're getting a little complicated with the economics, but if you talk about, for example, slaving away. So let's just talk about employment economics. So there's a whole study of the field of employment and why, and there's lots of scientific functions about why would you stay in one job versus when you switch jobs, what makes people quit, that kind of stuff. And there's a certain, for example, people stay in jobs that they would otherwise quit because in theory, over time, they will then get promoted to a job that they like. So there's this idea that that there's a time discount, right? You are willing to wait because the reward for waiting is that much higher. And so if you're doing economic stuff, you often run into ways that you need to account for the change in time, because humans do things over a period of time. Most of what we talk about is, you're at the aisle and do you pick the Gatorade or the water, right? It's like this A or B choice. And that's great, but most of human decisions do involve a time discount. So economics has kind of always struggled to measure that correctly, and it doesn't help that humans are weird and we don't perceive time rationally, and so it's very hard to measure that in an economic model. I'm going to quote from that paper I mentioned earlier. They have a really time discounting and time preference, a critical review. And this was a quote. Economics has always been both an art and a science. And I really agree with that. You're trying to get to the truth, and at the same time, the truth is really complicated. So you try to get to as close as you can, but still have time to get something out of it. And a simple discount utility, which is what people did, where they just said, okay, and we'll just say, we just made a quick little function, and so for every little bit humans wait, you discount the value by X. It's just too simple to accurately model human behavior. And there's a lot of reasons for this. I'll just give you one from a psychology point of view. So there's research in dopamine levels, and in the study I'm thinking of, the researchers had rats, and there was a light, and when the light turned on, the rats could run over to a bar, and then when they pressed the bar, the food pellet would come out. If they pressed the bar when the light wasn't on, nothing came out. So you would assume that the dopamine would show up when the rat ate the food pellet. But that's not what happens. The dopamine levels in the rat was highest when the light came on. Not even when they pressed the bar, when the food pellet, but when the light came on. That's when the dopamine was released, and then by the time the pellet got there, the dopamine had already tailed off. So what's interesting is us mammals, we release dopamine not as a reward, but in anticipation of a reward. And so, that's the first thing. Sometimes it's actually more fun and addictive to be forced to wait. It makes the thing you get that much more special. I don't know if any of you have gone through the trouble of planning a very complex vacation. hotels and where you're going to go and airline tickets. And it's kind of fun and exciting to plan this whole thing. And sometimes that can be even more fun and exciting than the trip itself. You sit around arguing on the beach about some dumb thing, but the planning of it and the anticipation was really, really fun. So you can't just do a simple discount, because sometimes waiting is better. Waiting makes the product even more valuable. Case in point is Amazon. You order something and then you press it and you get that burst of dopamine when you get it, but then it makes you wait. And you get the burst of dopamine when the text comes on your phone that your shipment has been shipped. And you get that little burst of dopamine when they say, oh, it's out for delivery today. Oh, it's been delivered. And then you finally see the package and you open the package. So instead of just this one time, okay, I purchased it, great. It's this journey that you get to go on, and there's all these little bursts of dopamine. So, really, we should not have, me as a behavioral economist, I'm not exactly surprised looking back. That Amazon has made a lot of money, and that the online shopping experience has taken over. Because in a lot of ways, there's an argument to be made that it is more fun. The big argument, I remember when online shopping was becoming a thing, and the thing was, well, people don't want to wait. Because waiting is bad. And that's, again, the traditional economic view, that there's this discount, that the utility that you get because you have to wait is discounted. And sometimes that's true, and sometimes I don't think that's true. I think it's more fun to wait. So it's, so it's complicated. And I have here another quote from that paper. And here they're encouraging economists to abandon this idea of discount utility altogether. And I quote from the paper. In sum, we believe that economists' understanding of intertemporal choices will progress most rapidly by continuing to import insights from psychology, by relinquishing the assumption that the key to understanding intertemporal choices is finding the right discount rate, or even the right discount function, and by readopting the view that intertemporal choices reflect many distinct considerations and often involve the interplay of several competing motives. So what they're arguing is essentially what I'm arguing. Humans are messy, they're unpredictable, and that simply just saying, oh, it's worse, humans care less if it's the next day, is not true and will create bad results. So we're going to talk a lot more later about specific situations in which people do time discounting. And there are patterns of behavior that humans use. But at first you should know that it's not linear. And you shouldn't just assume that waiting is bad. Sometimes waiting is good. And I know, for example, there are websites, and maybe you've done this. You put let's just say you're applying for a credit card, and you put your little things in and you press the wait, and there's like a little thing, it's like, oh, we're processing your account. I have a lot of suspicion to believe it doesn't take that long. It just checks the server. But the designers have purposely coded into the program a JavaScript timer that makes it look like it's working, because it forces the person to wait to see if they were approved or not. And they're actually building waiting into their program because humans actually like it to some extent. The other thing I should say is humans really, really, really dislike having to wait, but and we'll talk more about this later, but in the immediacy of it. But once they are accustomed to waiting, it's much easier for them to wait a lot longer. So what's bad is if you go to a barista and you say, I want my latte, because you expect it to happen right now. But if you can temper expectations about when things happen, humans are much more likely to wait and not be perturbed by the wait itself. So think of instead of getting your cup of coffee, it's a beer, but it's not just any beer. It's a limited edition thing that your favorite local brewery is coming out with, very high in demand, and so you have to order ahead. And so you can't just go to the bar and order it. You have to order it, and then next week your shipment will be in. People will do that, And that's okay, and they'll even be more excited about the beer. So just because they had to wait doesn't necessarily make the thing less valuable. It's just a matter of expectations. So this is part of the way that behavioral economics can influence how you put together a product. And, this is just another the passage of time, waiting is just another tool in the belt of the behavioral economist or the product designer or whomever you are. It's just another tool that you can use to influence behavior. So that's time discounting. I know it's a little complicated. I think that's actually one of the more economic-y thoughts that we have. So I hope I explained it decently. Again, if you have any questions, you can email me at info@theteamw.com. My name is Guthrie Weinschenk. Thank you for watching. There'll be links to stuff around, and I will talk to you soon.